Do you think that starting to save little is pointless? A lot of money, but small amounts over time can turn into big results. It is much better to start small than to wait for the perfect moment. The myth that investing is only for the rich keeps thousands of people away, but most of today's wealthy started by investing little. The secret lies in compound interest. $100 per month at 1% per month turns into more than $23,000 in 10 years. $500 per month becomes more than $110,000. It is much better to grow slowly than not grow at all. Reinvesting profits accelerates growth. It is like a snowball rolling down a mountain. Do not wait for the perfect amount. The sooner you start, the sooner you reap. It is much better to take the first step today. I met Eduardo, who started with $50 per month in an investment fund. 5 years later, he was investing $1,000 every month. Not because he got rich, but because the habit shaped his life. If you started today with just $100 per month, where do you think you would be in 5 years? You will discover the mistake that makes many people lose everything they built. And it is much better to protect than to take blind risks. How to protect your wealth? Building wealth is important, but protecting it is essential. What's the point of saving for years and losing everything in months? It is much better to shield what you have already built than to start over from zero. Many think protection is only for millionaires, but in truth, those with little need protection even more, because any loss is a much bigger blow. The first step is to have essential insurance: health, life, and important assets. They are not expenses, they are protection. The second step is diversification. Never put all your money in a single investment or business. It is much better to have several baskets than just one. The third step is to have an emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of guaranteed expenses so you don't have to sell investments at the wrong time. My friend Lucas invested all his money in a single business. When the pandemic came, the business shut down and he lost everything. If he had diversified, he would have survived financially. Today, if something unexpected happened, would you have resources to sustain yourself for a few months? I will reveal the secret the rich use to multiply earnings without multiplying effort. And it is much better to leverage than to rely only on your own strength. The power of leverage. Do you want to grow faster without working more? The name for that is leverage. It is much better to multiply results using smart resources than just increase effort. Many believe that to earn more, they must work more hours. But the rich grow using other people's resources: time, money, and knowledge. Financial leverage uses third-party capital to invest or start businesses strategically. Time leverage comes from delegating tasks so you can focus on what really brings returns. Knowledge leverage is learning from those who have already done it, avoiding expensive mistakes. It is much better to learn from the mistakes of others than to pay to learn alone. Julia wanted to open a store. Instead of saving money for years, she got a partner who put in capital. In 6 months, she already had profit. Without leverage, it would have taken 5 years. If you could leverage now, would you choose time, money, or knowledge? I will show you how to think like a millionaire before you become one. It is much better to adopt this mindset early than to wait for the money to arrive. How to think like a millionaire before being one. Before getting rich, you must learn to think like the rich. It is much better to adjust your mindset now than to wait for the money to arrive to change. Many people believe that mindset only changes after the bank account grows, but it is the opposite. Mindset comes first, money comes after. Millionaires think long-term, making decisions for 5, 10, 20 years ahead. It is much better to earn less today to earn much more tomorrow. They value assets. Instead of spending on things that lose value, they buy what generates income or appreciates. They seek continuous learning. They are always acquiring new knowledge that can generate returns. Pedro earned $3,000 per month but acted like an investor. He bought shares of solid companies every month. 5 years later, he had more than $150,000 invested without ever having a big salary. Do you think more about spending in the present or building for the future? I will show you how to put everything you learn together and create a plan for financial freedom. It is much better to act with direction than to wander aimlessly. Your financial freedom plan. You already have the puzzle pieces. Now it is time to put together your plan to achieve financial freedom. It is much better to have an imperfect plan than to have none at all. Many wait for the perfect moment to start, but the perfect plan does not exist. What exists is starting and adjusting along the way. The first step is to organize your finances, know how much comes in, how much goes out, and where to cut waste. The second is to create an emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses for safety. The third is to invest consistently, even with small amounts. It is much better to be consistent than to make occasional big efforts. The fourth is to build multiple sources of income. Do not depend on only one. The fifth is to protect and diversify: insurance, different investments, and strategic contacts. Clara started this plan at 28 years old. At 35, she lived off her investments and worked only for pleasure. She always said, "It is much better to start small than to wait for the right moment." If you were to start today, what would be your first step? If this video brought you value, like, subscribe, and share with someone who needs this shift, because it is much better to learn to build wealth now than to regret it later.